Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. And today I want to do a video discussing basically the Rolex Submariner and just some alternatives to that watch. Now, I know you guys are thinking, you can't compare Invicta watch or any of these watches I'm about to show you to a Rolex. And I think that's kind of a very subjective statement. When I've mentioned that before in some of my comments and a lot of my videos, hey, you can't compare a $5,000 watch, whether it be a Breitling, Omega, Rolex, whatever, any of those top high-end luxury brands. A lot of people be like, oh, Invicta sucks, Rolex is the best. And you really can't make that comparison. Rolexes are completely handmade. Whereas these other watches that I'm going to show you are, they're mainly machine-made. Doesn't mean they're bad watches, but you really can't compare the quality that you're going to get for spending $5,000 to $150 to $1,500, depending on what watch depending on the watch I'm going to show you. Now, what I want to do today is just show you some Rolex Submariner alternatives, and just discuss a little bit about what you're getting for your money. I get it all the time. People will come on, and if they don't like a brand, they will just bash the brand, and they'll say, well, the finishing, one guy said today, the finishing of a Breitling is far superior to the finishing of an Invicta, and I think that is just hogwash. I really do. I'll tell you, one guy said to me a while back, he said, turn the bezel on a Rolex, then come back and talk to me. And the other day I had the opportunity to get my hands on an Rolex Submariner, black face, very similar to the one watch I'm going to show you today. And I'm not bashing the brand. They've been around for a long time. They're a very popular brand. But for me, I don't care how much money I ever have or don't have, I will never buy a Rolex, ever. There are too many other watches that look just like it, that are just as nice, in my opinion, for a fraction of the cost. Let's face it, all these watches, they tell time. And none of them are 100% accurate. That includes Rolex. Now, Rolexes are made of a different stainless steel, something that's a lot more, durable in the most extreme, harsh environments. If you go take your Rolex and you want to throw it in the ocean for 30 years, yeah, it's going to withstand the test of time probably better than some of these just 316L stainless steel, which is what all these watches are made of. Other people are like, oh, the plating on the Invictas will never last. I've had my Invictas for well over 5 years. And there is no issues at plating. And if it's a concern to you, you just don't buy a plated watch, no matter who makes it. The plating process really isn't any different across the board. It's just, is it thicker? Some brands may use a thicker coating. And again, I can only tell you my personal experience. I've had no issues with any of the plating on any of my Invicta watches or any of the other brand watches I have. I mean, guys, I did a review about some of those replica Jacobs back in the day, which are really crude. They look nice, but they're really not even stainless steel. And even the plating on those crummy watches still, stood up for like 10 years with daily abuse and daily wear. So to make the statement that a watch's plating is going to just wear off is absurd. And people just seem to like to talk before they actually they've never even owned any of these watches, and they're talking. One guy said the other day, and I'm going to get to showing you guys the watches. One guy said that he sticks to pro divers because he had a problem with the reserve level timepiece. Well, God, it happens. There are issues that do happen. None of these things are perfect. And just because something is handmade, guys, we have the misconception that because it's handmade, it's better. Not necessarily. Handmade is still made by a human being who is not perfect. And things happen. Things fail. And so, people make mistakes. And I'm sorry, but just because it's handmade does not make it better. I would rather something machine-made, because that machine doesn't get tired. It rarely screws up. It's programmed to do that same thing over and over again. Again, not to say things can't happen, but I prefer handmade. It's like saying that homemade is better. Ooh, I got some homemade cookies, that they're better than store-bought. That's not necessarily the case. It really depends on the brand, depends on what you're getting. So handmade, I consider handmade and homemade kind of like the same thing. It doesn't mean it's better, okay? So now that I got that off my chest, let's go ahead and talk about some of the alternatives that I own in my collection, that if you're in the market for if you like that style of Rolex watch, that smaller, 32 to 44 millimeter watch, and you like that look. The Rolex look is a very simple look. I personally think it's kind of boring, but of the watches that I have, I still wear. If I'm going to get in the hot tub, I'll throw on one of my homage watches, one of my homage subbies, you know, because I don't really want to take, you know, my big Invicto watch in the hot tub with me, but I still want to wear a watch. So I have a lot of different watches, and these smaller ones have grown on me, I will say, and I do wear them from time to time, but I just don't get that feel that I get when I wear a big giant Aragon or Invicta watch. It's just, they're statement pieces. They say a lot, they're big, they're bold, and I'm sorry, but again, the finishing on all these watches is exceptional. And I don't know, I'd really like some of these people to actually sit down with me and show me how the finishing is better. I mean, it's going to really come down to a matter of opinion, because I have the watches I'm going to show you right now range from about $100 up to about $1,800, depending on if you get it on sale or not. And I have to tell you that there is a big markup across the board on every brand, and that they all offer something unique and special, but just because one's, you know, 15 times the price doesn't necessarily make it better. So let's start off with just a couple watches. I'm going to start off with one that I most recently received, and I have yet to review it. And this one's by Sterling. And you know, one thing I kind of like is as my watch journey has progressed, and I'm fortunate enough to get products to review from companies, and I work deals with companies to review their product, to share with my subscribers. You know, it's nice to be able to share things that maybe I necessarily wouldn't buy, because, you know, I'm not rich, I'm just a working guy like everybody else, and I buy a watch that really speaks to me, and sometimes, you know, not every watch is one that I'm willing to buy, because there's other ones I want more. But it doesn't mean that when I get it set as a sample, I don't love it and appreciate it, and I love sharing it with you guys, because it's pretty awesome to share this stuff. Ones that, you know, maybe you're not in the market for a big, giant, just happen to have one of your big, giant Aragon gauge, you know what I mean? Maybe you like the smaller watches, you know? There's nothing wrong with that. Hang on, let me just close my window here, because my neighbor just got home, and it's kind of weird doing a video and somebody's watching you. I'm not that professional, right? So, alright, so this one here is one by Sterling. And this is one of their newer watches they came out with, which is part of their Dive series watches. And this is what I would consider to be a homage to a Rolex Subby, right? A Submariner. Very, very simple in design, very similar to what you'd get in Rolex. And I reached out to them, and I like this watch because as I, you know, look at other dive watches, I've been trying to get my hands on ones that have a little more of that orange color, because that's kind of like what they've said is one of the best, most readable colors underwater if you're diving. Now, I don't dive, but I just like the way it looks. So this one here is done with this burnt orange bezel and a black face. And this one is an automatic watch. It does have your exhibition case back. And this one here, I believe, is powered by a Miyota movement. Now, Sterling sometimes in a lot of their watches, let me see what it says on here. This one's got 200 meters of water resistance. Yep, this one's done by the Miyota, 21 joules. She gone. Alright, so it does have your Cyclops there on the day of the month. You have kind of like your Mercedes emblem lollipop hand, orange hands, black face, some orange. You have lume, of course, on all your markers, and you have some orange trim around each one of the markers there. Screw down bezel, of course, or I'm sorry, screw down crown, excuse me. High polished mirror, high polish down the center of the band, and of course this brushed finish on the edges. Very, very similar to what you would find in a Submariner. Bezel, 120 click bezel. Bezel feels, I mean, really, some people when they're just like, oh man, the bezel. I don't think I have any watches that have a crummy bezel. I really don't. And I'm sorry, but I've felt the Rolex bezel. Nothing to really write home about. And like I told you, I think I forgot to mention this. And you know, a guy at work the other day, he was coming through, and he had a Rolex Submariner. I said, may I? You know, because sometimes it's kind of weird, you know, ask to touch somebody's watch, you know. But he took it off, he handed it to me, and of course I said, oh, very, very nice, you know. But feeling that watch, I gotta tell you, it felt so light. Now, weight is not an indication of quality, but for me, I like the more steel, the better. I feel like that's more durable, and I don't know, the Rolex to me, I didn't really feel anything spectacular by holding that watch. If anything, I was kind of like, wow, this is what people are, and I'm not bashing the brand, I'm just saying that, like, for what you're paying minimum, I mean, that's like a $10,000 watch, and I'm sorry, but, I mean, this watch right here by Sterling would bring me just as much of enjoyment wearing this watch. And I like the way this one looks better than that watch. I mean, very, very similar, of course. You know, and some people will say that the band tolerances are much better Rolex. That may be so, but what's the difference if this wiggles a little more than a Rolex? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But nonetheless, there's an option for you. This can be had about 100, depending on which one you get, which movement. Sterling lately has been using some Miyota movements in their watches, and they also have some of their in-house movements they use as well. Just spectacular. This is like my hot tub watch. I love it. Fantastic. And let's go ahead and throw it on the wrist here, show you what it looks like here. There you go. And all these watches I'm going to show you are about 44 millimeters in case diameter. Nice looking, huh? Alright, so on to the next. This is one by a company called Alexander. This is a sister or brother or sister company to Sterling. I believe they are actually owned by Sterling. And this is one of their Alexander dive watches. This one here, I forget the model number on this one here, but I'll put all the stuff in the description. This is a quartz watch here. Done that gold, you know, it's all brushed gold and stainless steel. A little thinner than the other one that I showed you. A little thinner than the Sterling watch. Definitely a lower profile on the wrist. Unidirectional rotating bezel on this here as well. Now, if that is something that you are, you know, I mean, I don't dive, so I really don't ever turn the bezel. But this one is a little bit harder to turn because it is so low profile. But not a bad looking watch. Price on these varies, so I will put links again in description for each one. You know, and again, you can catch these on sale, whether, you know, sometimes they have deals on the website and through eBay or Amazon. Just kind of depends. What I like about this one here, it does have your adjustable ratcheting strap, so you could actually, it's meant to go over a wetsuit. I mean, I don't know, I don't dive, so, but you just pull this tab back and you have, oops, if I can get it to work. There you go. You just pull the clasp back. It allows you to adjust the band out. So, pretty cool. Nice feature. Another one here, classic Invicta. This is your Grand Diver by Invicta. I've had this watch for well over 4 years now, and you know, it's a high polished mirror polished watch. So again, done in my favorite color combination, rose tone and yellow tone gold. This watch here, you know, a little bit larger than your other Submariner homage watches, but and Invicta and all these watches kind of put their own little additions to the watch, or a little flair on the watch. Like Invicta, for instance, they always have their Grand Diver engraved on the side. Invicta, there's no, you know, some people will say, oh, well, Invicta copies Rolex. That's false. They don't copy Rolex. Everybody has a Rolex homage watch because it is a popular watch. I mean, people do like Rolexes, and that's okay, but some people just can't afford them. They want to have that look, so this is a great alternative. Automatic Seiko NH35 movement. This watch can be had about $129, $150. Beautiful watch. Look at something that's a little bit larger than your standard Rolex size, taking you up to 47 millimeter. Next one I want to show you here is one done by Neymar. I have two of these. This one here, again, another subby homage watch here. This one doesn't have a double fold over locking clasp, but you do have dual push button deployment. I love this color combination. It's done in a yellow tone gold right down the center, with that beautiful mirror polishing down the center, and then brush finish on the sides, and that black bezel with that black face. Really beautiful. This one is powered by I believe which one does this one have? I think this one has a Miyota movement as well. I like that they've done the helium release valve on the side, and for those of you who need to hear that bezel click, which they all sound the same to me, this is a fantastic looking watch. This is one of my favorite ones. And I'll go ahead and throw that on the wrist here. I'm trying to keep this video under 16 minutes, so we'll see if we can get this done. So there it is right there on the wrist. Nice looking timepiece. Neymar has been a great company to work with. They actually, here's the same watch I picked up in a blue. Nice royal blue face with that black ceramic bezel. This does have a sapphire domed crystal. Very, very nice watch. This can be had about $250 for an automatic movement watch, which is fantastic. Next one I want to show you is a little bit on the higher side priced, or the higher end price. These ones are powered by ETA Valjoux 7750s. These are Alexander watches as well, where you get that automatic chronograph. Exhibition window on the back. And like I said, Alexander's been a great company to work with. They really make an exceptional timepiece, And this one here is a little more expensive. Can be at about $1,500 to $2,000, and that's because of the quality of the movement in there. You do pay more for those value movements, and these movements are the same ones that you'll find in Breitling watches and lots of watches that cost well into like the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 range. So, and here it is. This is my favorite one in the Alexander line. This one here is done in the all black face and black bezel. Beautiful. Alright guys, well that's a couple of subby alternatives there. Again, quite a broad price point there. I mean, if you want to get into something under 200 bucks, I definitely recommend that Sterling watch or the Grand Diver. If you want to step it up a little more, the Neymar is a fantastic watch. I mean, I'm super impressed with the quality. But all in all, no matter which one you get, whatever price point you're looking at, guys, these watches as far as fit, finish, and quality are all exactly the same. There is no difference. You're not going to get one and say, ooh, this one doesn't feel as good as the other one. They're all nice. So let me know what you guys think. Go ahead and drop a comment. And as always, subscribe to the channel. There'll be links in the description. As always, guys, have a wonderful day. Take care.